Hello and welcome to 360 Sports. I'm Alec Brown. Alongside me is Gina Scarpa, Gabby Gillam, and Alex McCrystal. And guys, we are in the middle of the 2024 MLB postseason. A bunch of great series going on each side in the AL and the NL. But I think we're going to start off here first with the Mets and the Phillies. Right now, the Mets are in Queens taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. They're up 2-1, and their game is currently going on right now. And Alex, I know you're a big Phillies fan. What have you been thinking about this series so far?
Pain. First and foremost, this has not been fun. It has really just been very stressful. We have averaged 2 runs in games 1 and 3. Actually, they've scored exactly 2 runs in games 1 and 3, and they were both in garbage time, so you know that thing did not matter. And the one game in game 2 was fantastic, but also they also had to make me feel like I was on the brink of death at least 3 different times. But you know what? At least we came out with that, and we got a chance today. Not looking great, but we got a chance, and that's all we need.
You know, I'm really sorry to say it because I'm a Yankees fan, even though I do like to root for New York, but I think that considering that the Mets are in Citi Field right now and the atmosphere there in Queens, the Mets do have a really good chance of winning tonight and advancing to the NLCS. And I'm sorry to say because I know you're both Phillies fans.
Yeah, I gotta say, as a Phillies fan, it's rough. I mean, I went to Game 2 and I thought, like, oh my gosh, like we're gonna win the series now. But then looking at Game 3, I was like, we're back right down to, they're back right down to square one. It's not looking good, but gotta pull through, gotta start hitting. No more first pitch swings, just gotta like keep your no more first pitch swings, just work long at bats and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not fun. Hudson has said many, many times we need to cut down on chase, and they still have not done that yet. And you have the feeling that if the Phillies do that, they have a very good chance of bringing this back together.
Some would say it's chasing and staying a little patient. I would say it's just grimace. But now moving on to the other game in the NLDS, we have the Padres against the Dodgers. Big game yesterday. Padres ended up winning that one. And Gina, I want to know, what did you see in that game from the Padres that made them so electric?
That was honestly my favorite game of the entire postseason so far. With Mookie starting the game off with a solo shot, but then the Padres immediately answered back with 6 runs in the second, and that was, propelled by Tatis's 2-run home run, and he's just been so electric this entire postseason. But then the Dodgers did make an attempt to come back, and Teoscar Hernandez with a grand slam, but it resulted no one else scored the rest of the game, so it ended with a 6-5 Padres win, and I think that game really set the tone for the rest of that series.
Yeah, I think the tone was set as soon as fans started throwing trash on the field. Then you knew it was on. Like I find that ridiculous. First off, bunch of goobers. The fact that people would even do that or consider that. I don't know if you guys know this, but if fans distract a game for that long, home fans distract a game for that long for an extended period of time, maybe 15 to 20 minutes, they'll force the home team to forfeit the game 9-0. That's the rule. So if that went on for even a little bit longer, the Dodgers might have been forced to forfeit. Now, I don't think that would have happened, but that definitely was. If that kept happening, that might have really happened, and that just tells you right now that this is more than just a rivalry. Like this is just very medium rare beef right here. Like this, it's very serious, and I really hope the Dodgers win because I feel like we all deserve a Game 5.
And just looking at their team as a whole, the Padres are just hitting from top to bottom. Everyone's getting on base. 7 hits last game, and almost everyone in the lineup was hitting. We've seen some guys in the bottom of the lineup just step up super high. And also, how can you not love that Fernando Tatis Jr. homer? Just insane aura on that one. Now moving on to the American League. Tigers just got the 3-0 win over the Guardians. They're up 2-1 now, and they'll take that series back to Detroit. And their fans have looked super great so far. Almost as good as the Mets, but they have grimace, so I think you have to give them a little good credit there.
No, but the Tigers have grit. Think about that.
Yeah.
The Tigers do have a lot of grit. It's just that city, man. The Lions last year in the playoffs, and they took off the Rams. They had some incredible fans. But Gabby, I don't know if you watched the game too much because it did just happen, but what have you seen so far in that Guardians-Tigers series that's pleased you?
I just think that they call them the gritty Tigs for a reason. Like, they just keep at-bat after at-bat. Like, you saw Kerry Carpenter hit that 3-run home run in Game 2 when they won. It was a pitcher's duel the entire game, and then he comes up and hits a 3-run homer. And I think that shows that, they're in this fight for a long run. They're not going to get down after a shutout performance, they're going to keep going. And I just think, you just can't count them out no matter what.
Honestly, like, you knew they weren't messing around when they swept the Astros in the wild card, because the Astros, for the past however many years, have been so good in the postseason. They've made it to the ALCS. They've swept past the Yankees, and it's hurt me as a Yankee fan, but I'm very glad that the Tigers swept them in the wild card.
Yeah, and the number one thing that the Tigers have going for them is the best pitcher in all of baseball. Tarek Skubal, I have not seen pitching dominance like this in quite some time. Honestly, his dominance reminds me of a Jacob deGrom. That's how dominant this guy is. And you know what Jacob deGrom never did? Was do this in the postseason. And this guy has gone 14 innings, shutout ball, and absolutely nobody can touch him. And every time he's worked into trouble, he's gotten out of it immediately. And the Tigers are so good at situational hitting. And mind you, the Guardians haven't scored a single run for 20 innings. 20 innings, shutout. And that is Tarek Skubal, and that is a chaotic bullpen that is full of electric arms that nobody can hit.
Yeah, the bullpen for the Tigers has been super scary all season, especially post-All-Star break, once they really got to lock in and get that clubhouse going. And they just have so many good arms in there. The hitting, it's not all there, but they have gone on good little short spurts of runs. We saw that for the past couple of innings for them this last game. And now looking into the future, we've seen some teams up 2-1. Obviously, comebacks can happen. Who do you guys think will make it out into the ALCS?
I'm going to go Yankees-Tigers, because the way that the Tigers have been playing, they're pitching, as we were saying. And I know the Yankees are off to a little bit of a rough start, but I think with Game 3 coming up tonight, if we can win, we have a really good chance I have them winning in 4. So.
Yeah, I agree. I have the Tigers and the Yankees moving on as well. Tigers, you just can't count them out. And the Yankees, if the Yankees can get Judge and Soto going, then the things that they could do is impossible. They're two of the best players in the league right now, and they're just not hitting right now. But if they can start hitting, then they're really going to take this team far.
I'm going to tell you, right now I am extremely confident in the Tigers because they just did one thing today that secured them the series. Tarek Skubal will get one more start. Even if they lose the next game, Tarek Skubal will be starting another game. The Guardians can't touch him. Nobody can touch him. And I feel like if you have Skubal on the mound, Skubal had the most wins in Major League Baseball this year. I feel like they can't lose. And I'm going to have to go Royals. Am I being a hater? Maybe. Am I riding with the momentum? Absolutely. And that has to do with the fact that Jazz Chisholm had to go out and say that the Royals won due to luck. And nothing gets a team more fired up than the other team saying they don't deserve to win and treating them like a little brother. So I feel like the Royals will take that personally, and they'll take both games in KC.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all.
Yeah?
From Jazz, I didn't like it. I didn't respect it. They didn't get lucky. The Yankees' pitching just fell apart.
No, I mean, the Yankees' pitching didn't fall apart. They scored one run through 9 innings, and then Jazz hit a garbage time homer.
Rodon fell apart. After 4, he was scoreless, and then Salvi came up and hit a home run. And
side tangent here. Are you worried about Aaron Judge in the playoffs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Extremely.
Do you think he's a playoff choker?
Yes.
I do too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for myself, I'm definitely going to have to take the Royals here. It's a little bit of hatred towards the Yankees. I am a Red Sox fan, but still, this Royals team is just tough and gritty, man. Same thing with the Padres. They have guys in the bottom of the lineup getting good hits, getting on base, playing rough, dirty baseball. The defense has looked good, not making too many errors. And they just have a lot of good things going for them, especially when Salvi's hot. That's what the team rallies around. I feel like with the Yankees, once Aaron Judge isn't playing well, their whole team just crumbles. I feel like their team really tries to rally around him. And when he's not putting out his best effort, that's about it. And then we'll quickly see what can happen here in the NLCS. Does anyone have any predictions for how that will go?
Gina.
I have Padres-Phillies, even though the Phillies have been rocky.
I appreciate the concern.
Yeah.
That's what I want, personally.
I would like that too. Do I think that'll happen? Probably not, but my heart has to go with
Yeah.
Padres-Phillies here.
I also have the Padres and the Phillies. I would love to see a rematch of the 2022 NLCS. I feel like both teams have matured so much since 2022. New acquisitions, Tatis is back for the Padres, and I think I would love to see just a rematch, see how electric that would be, because back in 2022, it was pretty electric. So yeah.
Yeah, so either you're going to have this take from all of us age extremely poorly in about 2 hours, or we're going to have Wheeler on Game 5 trying to shove to get the Phillies in the NLCS. I would prefer the second option personally, but yeah, I go Phillies.
Hopefully you guys don't hurt me for being realistic, but I think it will be Mets-Padres in the NLCS, the two hottest teams in baseball right now, at least batting-wise. They know how to get it done. Even the pitching looked good yesterday for the Mets, besides that weird 8th inning.
Awesome.
Not sure what happened there. But just two hottest teams in baseball right now. Bats are flowing. Vibes are great. Some of the best fans right now in baseball. I think that's what's going to happen in the NLCS. Not too sure about the World Series. We'll have to wait for that. But moving on to our next segment, we're going to be focusing on who have been the most surprising players this postseason and who has been underperforming this postseason. Alex, take it away.
All right. So, for my players, personally, the most surprising would have to be Maikel Garcia. Now, I love Maikel Garcia. Did I think he'd be able to get it done to the degree he has? No, but 4 hits against Yankee pitching on, what was it, Monday night? Yes, Monday night. And he was absolutely fantastic. This guy has an extremely hard hit rate. And honestly, once he gets on base for Salvador Perez and Bobby Witt Jr., it really makes that Royals offense go to a different level. And honestly, it's surprising that he's been able to get this level of production in the postseason. And I think his success is the huge part of the Royals' overall success. And for underperforming players, I'm going to have to go with Alec Bohm. Very unfortunate, but yeah, it unfortunately looks like he really does hate this place because he has done nothing but not hit the baseball or field the ball. Already in today's game, as he made 2 crucial mistakes to get the bases loaded for the Mets. Thankfully, they haven't gotten burned by it, but his defense and his offense have been hurting the Phillies so far, and he drove in over 100 runs for this Phillies offense, and he's a main cog to making this thing go. And the longer he struggles, the longer the entire Phillies offense is going to struggle because you get less support for Harper and Castellanos. And it pains me to say this, but he has underperformed more than anyone else in the postseason, other than Aaron Judge.
Okay, so my picks for the most surprising, I have Fernando Tatis Jr., only because he missed the postseason in 2022 due to suspension. However, he's really showed up in 2024, and he's leading in 2 different categories, being RBIs, he has 7, and home runs, he has 4. And I just think he's been the most electric player to watch this postseason. And he's also hitting .556, which is insane. He's just leading in so many different categories. And then for my underperformed player, I have kind of a controversial take, Jose Ramirez, because he's been incredible all of the 2024 regular season. However, now he's in the postseason hitting like 143 and just not doing what we know him to do. Like, Jose Ramirez is one of the most prolific hitters in the game, considering he's a switch hitter doing it from both sides of the plate. And he's just had an insane season. Like, I think he hit 39 home runs and had 118 RBIs in the regular season. But now that they're in the postseason, it's just not looking too good for him.
Yeah, I believe he was 1 home run and 1 stolen base away from having a 40-40 season, which is incredible.
Okay, so as much as it pains me to say, my surprising player was Mark Vientos. I think we all know what happened in Game 2. He had 2 different 2-run home runs. But I think his Game 1 and Game 3 performances are the ones that are going unnoticed. In both games, he went 2 for 4, and in Game 1, he had 2 RBIs as well. And one of his RBIs was the game-tying RBI that led to a 5-run inning by the Mets. And in Game 3, he went 2 for 4 as well. Although he had no hits or RBIs, although he had no runs or RBIs, his hits still got Mets players in scoring position, which then led them to being scored. And then for my underperforming player, I did have to go with Mookie Betts. He is 2 for 10 this postseason, which has him 48th among all hitters right now. And he only got his first hit in Game 3, and it was a home run, but he did also get robbed by Jurickson Profar in Game 2. So I feel that he has been underperforming. I know he was injured during the regular season. I don't know if this is like crossing over or anything, but he has been underperforming. We haven't really heard his name except for that homer yesterday. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it pains me as a former Red Sox fan to see...
Former?
Sorry, still Red Sox fan. To see my glorious former Red Sox, a glorious king, Mookie Betts, just be hurt like that. But looking at my surprising player, I have chosen Kyle Higgy, the catcher for the San Diego Padres. Not going to try to say his last name, but he has been incredible so far this postseason. In the regular season, had a .220 average, .734 OPS, which are good pedestrian numbers for a catcher. But in this postseason, he has been outstanding. Over .300 batting average, 4 extra base hits, 3 of those have been home runs. He has just been everywhere. 5 runs batted in also. Defense, it's good for a catcher, but that's not important when you're hitting over .300 and you're doing all these incredible things on the offense side of the ball, getting the ball rolling. So look at Big Papi. He was incredible his entire postseason.
Did you just compare
playing the ball.
Gachioka to
Yes, I did.
David Ortiz?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And he's just been a big part of the reason that this Padres team has been so hot. Now, looking at one of my disappointing players, it does have to be another Dodger. It is Freddie Freeman. And Freddie didn't have the best regular season this year, but this is one of the best All-Stars that baseball does have to offer. Last year, he was competing for his teammate Mookie Betts for regular season MVP, and he couldn't get it done in the postseason last year, too, against the Diamondbacks. That's why they were out so early in the postseason that series. No one played well for them that series either way, but Freddie Freeman, you're one of the best first basemen in baseball, and you have to start acting like it. He hasn't been playing too well the past 2 series. In the NLDS in 2022, he played great. He had over 1,000 OPS against the Padres, basically the same matchup, but he's just not getting it done this time. And the Dodgers, obviously, when they signed him in free agency to that big contract, they thought they were going to get the guy that was hitting over 1,000 in every single game, or every single series, I should say, when they went on that miracle run for the Braves.
For anyone wondering, it was Higashioka.
Higashioka, yeah.
But Higgy's his nickname.
Higgy.
I'm going to keep working on it.
Higashioka, the home run stroker, as John Sterling calls it.
John Sterling is back for the postseason, actually.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
He's a dog, man.
He's a dog.
He's just raking.
An OG.
Dog that won't die.
Now,
Career-wise.
to our next segment, we're going to be looking at past to present players. So how the segment works is everyone gets to choose a team that they want, and if they played for them, either if they're still playing and they've got traded, or if they're retired and they played for that franchise, you get to put them on the current team of your choosing, obviously still in the playoffs, and they would be on the roster for the rest of the World Series. So, Alex, who's the player that you've chosen?
So, you guys all saw my underperforming player. Can you guys tell me what position he plays?
Third base.
Can you guys tell me who the greatest third baseman of all time is?
Mike Schmidt.
Yes, that is who I want playing third base for the remainder of October. The greatest World Series winning third baseman of all time. 500 plus homers, just the greatest to ever do it, the greatest Philly to ever do it. And honestly, who would you rather have in your corner as the Phillies try to take October?
I agree.
And do you think Mike Schmidt would be enough to get the Phillies over the hump into the World Series and win it?
Absolutely. Got to get Harper some protection in there, and he would slot in perfectly in that 5-hole, provide the power that we haven't had, and that clutch factor that we definitely have not had. They have definitely not had it.
All right, my pick is Mariano Rivera, the Hall of Famer, greatest closer of all time. Like, come on, you can't go wrong with Mo. He was a 13-time All-Star, 5-time World Series champion, and 1999 World Series MVP. He's just the Yankees bullpen has been struggling. We haven't had a solid closer since he retired, so I'm thinking it would be amazing if we could bring him back because Clay Holmes is not a reliable closer.
So a lot of bias I'm seeing early on. We'll see if that continues, Gabby.
I'm going to have to continue with the bias.
Who would have thought?
I would love to bring Roy Halladay back to the Phillies. Yeah.
my goat.
Yeah. I just think he's one of only 6 players to win a Cy Young in both leagues. I think that encapsulates like how good he was. He has the most complete games of any pitcher since 2009. And even Derek Jeter just said that Roy Halladay was one of his toughest pitchers, and we know how good Derek Jeter was. And I think he has the postseason experience. I mean, in 2010, he did have a no-hitter against the Reds in the NLDS, which they did win that series. So I feel that if Roy Halladay was able to come back and pitch for the Phillies, that he would be able to help the Phillies get over their challenges right now and take them to the World Series.
Yeah, this man threw a postseason no-hitter. I don't know who else you would rather have up there on the bump.
And so the player that I chose, I went a little bit different, didn't go bias. I actually chose Ricky Henderson. He played 3 full seasons with the Padres, had 1 postseason with them as well, hit over 1,000. So he technically does count.
Who would you have him replace?
Would I have him replace? That's a great question. But when you have a player as good as Ricky Henderson, 1 MVP, 2-time World Series champion, you could fit him in anywhere. And then even if you want him at this old age, could be a platoon guy.
Yeah.
If he can still run, I don't see why you can't have him out here. He draws walks, gets on base. He's really the 5-tool guy. Obviously, I think the Padres are going to win the World Series. So even if you did have him in the lineup, maybe throw up a little chemistry,
Hot take.
it could still work. How's that a hot take? on almost every betting website, they are the favorites right now.
Yeah.
I can see why.
Has DraftKings ever lied to me? No.
The numbers do not lie. And so, looking at the final thoughts, is there anything that we haven't covered that you guys do want to cover right now? Obviously, Phillies game going on right now. That's sitting at 0-0 in the top of the fourth. Tigers, they have a bunch of momentum going into their next game. They're going to be back in Detroit for their second home game of this playoff so far.
See, my final thought is I really need the Phillies offense to get going. But I will say that if they get out of the postseason, I feel like they should go out and get Juan Soto.
I agree. Yeah.
Different
pinstripes.
Yeah, different pinstripes. Better
Bring 'em red
pinstripes.
to black.
Honestly,
And they're
better
not
looking.
better
They fit
looking.
out better
Wow,
than
come
anybody.
on.
They're navy.
Oh.
So, Alex, I got to know, watching the Phillies play in front of your screen right now, has that been painful for you right now, also having to talk on camera too?
It's like standing on a pack of needles. That's how I would describe it personally. But thankfully, Ranger Suarez has guided the Phillies out of traffic a million times, which honestly reminds me of Game 1 of the NLDS in 2022, where he did a very similar thing.
Yes.
Now, the only thing that's different is that the Phillies actually scored runs in that game, which would be really nice.
Really need that. I think it's worth mentioning that JT Realmuto, Alec Bohm, Brandon Marsh, and Austin Hayes are combined 1 for 32 right now.
That is impressive.
And that one hit, Alec Bohm got caught at second base trying to make it a double. So I think they just need to start being patient at the plate. They're swinging at everything. They're trying to go for home runs. I know they're a home run hitting team, but not everything has to be a home run. So I just think if they realize that small ball actually can be fun, then they need to just
And it scores runs.
and it
That's
scores
the coolest
more
part of
runs.
it.
Obviously, Game 2 was so fun, with all the home runs. Bryce Harper and Nick Castellanos going back to back was insane. But I just feel like when the Phillies are playing small ball, it's when they're having their most fun. So.
I mean, the Yankees are the same way. We talk about Aaron Judge and his slump in October every single year. He holds the highest single strikeout rate in the postseason at 34.3.
Which, by the way, is higher than Martin Maldonado, the consensus worst hitter in the league. And he played for the White Sox.
The fact that he is underperforming so much isn't just impacting the entire Yankees lineup because they rely on him. And it's similar to in 2023 when he got hurt and missed 8 weeks of the season, I'm pretty sure. And the drought that the Yankees went through, no one was hitting, and then that's why they didn't make the postseason.
Now, and I wanted to give a special shout out to the Tigers because I feel like they need to be talked about more. It is very impressive what they're doing, and what they're doing more than anybody else is situational hitting. And that is how their offense. Do they have the best offense ever? No. They think they have two guys with an OPS over 700, and that's Kerry Carpenter and Riley Green. And I just think what they're doing is entirely impressive. You have a guy like Jake Rogers, who I believe was hitting maybe about the Mendoza line, which is 200. They have such a great offensive philosophy of the next man up that I believe more teams with more star power need to have up and down their lineup.
So obviously, Gina, if this could be one of the final series that we see of the year from the Yankees, do you think they can go back out there and convince Juan Soto to stay with this team?
No. And if I was Juan Soto, I wouldn't want to because the expectations coming to New York are so high, and then for every single year to be shot down and to choke in the postseason, it's just very disappointing for fans, but also the players. So if I was Juan Soto, I wouldn't want to come back.
If you were Juan Soto, where would you go?
I think he'd want to come play with Harper and Turner again.
I think it
he
depends.
won a World Series with
I
Trey
think it
Turner.
depends
So
on how.
yeah, a little
In
reunion.
2019.
Let's have all the Nationals come to our team.
No, I think it depends how the postseason plays out. If the Mets push past the Phillies, he could go over to Queens, which would hurt me really bad. But
Wow.
I don't put
That
it
would
past
stink.
him.
That would
It would.
stink.
The Mets do have the money, too, to sign a guy like him.
You know who else has money? John Middleton.
Yep. He wants his trophy back. So I think that getting Juan Soto, if the Phillies don't make it out this year, if they can get Juan Soto, John Middleton can get his trophy back.
Phillies have runners on second and third with 1 out, and Bohm's 3-0 on the count right now.
So, guys, that means it is up to my underperforming player of the playoffs.
My dad texted me before this, can we trade Bohm before Game 5 if there even is a Game 5? So,
If we get to
Bohm,
Game
if you don't want to
5.
get traded, please pull through.
Yeah, man, I would always love Luis Rengifo.
3-1 now.
Yeah, it's a 3-1 count.
3-1
Hitters
count.
count, so you know he's going to ground out, which would be awesome.
While that's happening, World Series predictions.
Foul ball.
Like winners?
No, just
World
matchup.
Series
Just
predictions?
matchup. Well, me and Gina won a 2009 rematch. So
Yankees,
I mean,
Phillies.
Yeah.
I would love that.
That would be really awesome.
I would also love a Subway Series, World Series, because that hasn't happened since I think 2000. So.
It's not what you want. What do you think?
Oh, what we want.
What do I think's gonna happen?
I think it's gonna be.
Probably like the worst imaginable outcome, which would be Mets Yankees.
That's your worst outcome?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody's
Padres.
I
Padres.
Padres
have a
are a
lot
fun
of
team.
potential.
Actually, worst one would be Dodgers Royals
Why?
wow,
because I don't want that.
wow.
I think realistically looking at it right now, how the playoffs look, I think Tigers come out of the AL, and I think the Padres come out of the NL.
Guys, we have an in-play run. Is it a sac fly?
It's probably
I
a sack
don't
fly,
care.
but I don't care.
What is it?
It's runs. That's all.
That's all I care about.
Is it a homer?
Did the Phillies score?
No, you're
They
messing
did.
with me
You're
here.
up 1-0.
Reached first on an error.
Wow.
Oh my god, I don't care. It's a run.
Wow.
That's all I need, baby. That's all I need.
Performer.
Guys, you know what
He's
they say?
performing.
It's better to be lucky than good.
Yeah.
Yeah, studio with a bunch of Philly fans is super
Okay.
electric right now.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. Okay.
Now we have another
So now it's first and third.
underperforming candidate in JT Real Muto.
Oh.
The guy who could not throw Pete Alonso out at second.
Yeah. I mean, he still has no hits in this postseason. So.
Yeah. Well, this is a really good time to do so, wouldn't you think?
Right.
Gosh, wouldn't it be awesome?
But going back to what I was saying before, Tigers, I think, come out of the AL. Padres, I think, come out of the NL. I think they get it done. But I think that is all the time we have for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining me here today. Always great to talk about ball with all of you guys. Tomorrow is hockey. Tune in at the same time on the 360 Sports YouTube channel. It'll be at 5:50 as always. And you heard all of our World Series predictions. You heard who you think we're going to pick to win. And let us know if you agree or disagree with us in the comments.